Chelsea at home. Another defeat. Let's dive into it. Welcome to next COYS Corner. Before we start, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel and click the bell to receive notifications. So another shocking home performance and yet another defeat at home. I hate Chelsea, don't you? Lack of structure, a lack of movement in possession, a lack of creativity on show once again. Debate rages on about player quality and tactics, but the truth is, for me, it's somewhere in between. Yes, for sure, in certain positions, we need better players and we need more quality. But the current setup, the current way of playing, the lack of movement in possession, the lack of dynamism in our play, that's tactical, that's coaching, and the current players we have aren't as bad as that performance. I wasn't happy with the team selection, I have to be honest. There was no need to play 4 central midfielders. I think when you do this, you just create an imbalance in the side. I think we saw that in the match. And it just creates, for me, a negative mindset, a negative mentality. And I think that feeds into the players and it feeds into the performance. And what you end up with is a passive match where you don't have the right balance of players to create chances and keep the ball. And it just didn't work. And I wasn't happy with it when I saw the lineup came out, and no need for Sarr, Bergvall, Palhinha and Bentancur in the same team for me. Losing Bergvall early was obviously a big blow. We really missed his energy, his quality, and to lose him so early on, it did disrupt us, and that certainly didn't help our performance, that's for sure. First 10 to 15 minutes, Chelsea had a bit more threat than us, but there wasn't that much in the game. We weren't awful in the first 10-15 minutes. The game was relatively tight. The problem is, as the half progressed, it became clear that Chelsea were growing into it and we weren't, and they got better and we got worse, and it never really improved from that. The worst thing about this is this Chelsea side are decent. They're okay. They're nowhere near as good as most Chelsea teams we've faced in the last 10, 15, 20 years. And they were very much beatable if we actually came to the table and had a go. We looked like strangers out there. That's the best way I can describe it. Very disconnected, giving the ball away cheaply, not making the right runs, the right passes, the right decisions. Just a complete mess, to be honest, when we're on the ball. We were playing as individuals. Here's a good example of what I'm talking about. So this was relatively early on in the match, and the ball gets knocked down, and we work it quite nicely initially. It comes into Xavi, he flicks it first time into Spence, and then Spence plays it backwards. He goes back into Van der Ven, which is okay. And Van der Ven actually finds a really nice forward pass. It's something we did not do enough of, and we don't do enough of generally in matches. But on this occasion, we do. We worked it all right. Van der Ven fires the ball into Xavi's feet. Xavi receives it. Spence pulls out wide for him, and Xavi plays it to him first time, which draws that Chelsea player towards Spence. Now Spence has it on that left flank. And look at the space that Xavi's created for himself now by playing that ball out to him. Now we've got that space in front of him that we can exploit and attack. Spence takes a touch inside. Now the pass is clear. Play the ball into Xavi and we are 4-on-4. And then Spence can also get up and support out of possession and go past his man there, but without the ball. And I would, if I was him, then bend my run and go wide so that Moani can make a diagonal run inside and give us a 5-on-4 potentially. But the pass is obvious. This is infuriating to watch when we don't make these simple passes, because Xavi should have the ball and then he's in a really good area to hurt Chelsea. Instead, Spence takes the ball inside himself, keeps carrying it, still hasn't released it, chance has gone now, and then he eventually ends up overhitting a pass and giving it away to Cucurella. that was early in the match. I couldn't believe what I was watching. That was such a simple pass to Xavi that would put us into a great area to hurt Chelsea. And it's no wonder we can't create chances when we can't turn moments like that into big, big opportunities for ourselves. So really frustrating. Here we've got another example of our play in possession. Van der Ven knocks the ball down and Xavi actually flicks the ball lovely with his head over the top of the Chelsea player and round the corner. Now, I just want you to note, there's Sarr, here's Bentancur and Spence. So that's the players that are near Xavi at this moment. Going to the next shot, Xavi span his man, he's away. Now, there's two Chelsea players going after him. Sarr is up top of the picture, there's Bentancur, there's Spence. Right. So far, no one's made a run to help. Going to the next shot, Xavi's carried it even further. Two Chelsea players on him. And what do you notice? There isn't a single Spurs player that has made a run to come and support Xavi on the ball and give us options to keep possession or try to create something. They've completely left him alone with two players. There's no movement at all. Sarr is up here and he's got no interest in coming across to help. Spence hasn't come into the picture. He's not bothered about getting forward. Bentancur's not come across. No one is there to help. And then we wonder why players lose the ball and get swarmed by the opposition. The difference is we don't support our players by getting close to each other and giving them an outlet. So inevitably what happens here is Xavi gets swarmed by two players. I think this actually was a free kick, if I'm honest. But Chelsea win the ball. Xavi's completely isolated. You can still see in this picture, no one got near to helping him. Here's another example of us in possession now. And you can see Danso's got the ball at the back. And he's got some options here. He's got Porro and Polini. And they're relatively well marked. Just take a look at this. Now, Danso carries the ball and he does quite well. Porro doesn't really make a run. Polini doesn't make a run. And Sarr is here. Now, Sarr could change the whole picture here by making one run towards the ball. If he comes in here, he's going to draw Caicedo with him. But he can get ahead of him. He can receive the ball through the lines from Danso. And then he can play it out to Porro on the run. And then we've escaped the pressure. Very, very simple bit of movement, a bit of simple passing, and we could play out. But instead, we go into the next shot. Sarr doesn't come towards the ball. Danso actually does really well because he gets pressured, but he manages to get away again. Notice Polini still hasn't showed for the ball. Not once. Hasn't made any kind of movement to try and give Danso a pass. Porro's stayed relatively static as well. Sarr has stayed upfield and not come towards the ball at all. The ball gets fired in towards Kudus. Pretty much the only pass we seem to be able to play regularly. And on this occasion, we don't get it right and Chelsea win the ball back. We lose possession. We really didn't need to. We could have worked our way out of it. Just really, really frustrating, the lack of movement and the lack of kind of just showing for each other to play the ball and play football. And the goal we conceded, obviously, was incredibly frustrating. And for me, three players were all at fault here combined. It wasn't one player's fault. It was a mixture of Spence, Xavi and Van der Ven. Spence receives it and Spence makes a poor decision. He goes infield, into traffic, into congestion when he should be carrying the ball to the side of the pitch and trying to draw Chelsea away to create space inside for someone else to go and receive the ball. So he goes inside, he gets lucky because he loses it, but it falls to Bentancur and he gets it back off Bentancur. Isn't an amazing pass back to him, but Spence also isn't quite ready and isn't focused enough. Loses the ball again, infield. Chelsea win it, but it manages to come back to us and ends up with Van der Ven. Van der Ven plays it to Xavi. And Xavi plays a really lazy pass. One of those passes I hate to see, not enough power. Just a lazy pass back to Van der Ven that puts him in trouble. And then Van der Ven tries to retain possession. I can sympathise with it, but for me in this situation, under that much pressure, at this point, he should just get rid of it. Smash it off of Caicedo or try and dink it round the corner into space for Xavi to kind of take back. But he tries to retain it. He loses it weakly. Caicedo wins the ball, drives into the box, and Chelsea score. So really poor from three different players for us and summed up our performance really, that mistake for the goal. So movement or lack of is the key word that I'll keep repeating in this video. And I just want to show now the example of a lack of bravery in our play. and how we're so safe in everything we do and so risk averse. So here, Xavi has the ball on the left-hand side, and he plays it into Palhinha, who's in a decent position to receive. Now he plays that pass inside, and you can see him here, and he is gesturing to receive the ball. You can see, can you see Xavi here? Look at the gestures he's making. Play the ball in front of me. Now Palhinha should just play that pass straight through the Chelsea players into that gap for Xavi to move on to, and then we're behind 3 Chelsea players and in a really good position. But instead, Palhinha turns away from Xavi and immediately closes his body and passes backwards, as we do. That's what we do. We pass backwards so often. Back to Van de Ven, across to Danso, and that particular chance to really cut through Chelsea is gone. That's one passage of play, but it happens all the time. We go backwards so often when we could try to play through the lines. And it's incredibly frustrating to watch, and it's something that has to change because it's one of our biggest issues. And just finally, one more example of how poor we are in possession. Porro, top of the picture, there's Danso, there's Van de Ven, Spence is just out of shot, and you've got Palhinha and Bentancur together in the middle of the park. Ball goes across from Van de Ven to Danso. Danso receives it. No one moves. No one shows for the ball. Sarr is here, stays here. Bentancur is here, stays there. Porro's here, he hasn't really got anywhere to go, to be honest with you. He receives it. And what ends up happening is we go backwards again because no one is showing, no one's moving to try and create space and give us openings to try and play through. So we go back, Danso gets it, back to Vicario. Vicario gets it. Now, look at the space between us. As I've mentioned in other videos, look how much space there is. We don't even attempt to try and play out, even though we're not under massive amount of pressure. Instead, we just smash the ball long, lose possession. Just, yeah, not good. Chelsea were stronger, faster, more dynamic with the ball. Anytime they had possession, they had numerous options available to them, so they could play around us and play forwards, most importantly. And whether they carried it or whether they passed it, they were able to progress the ball from back to front consistently during this game, something we were incapable of. Just a quick note that Chelsea also actually showed potentially everyone how teams can kill the long throw and set piece meta that's taken hold. They left 3 players up on one of our long throws in the first half, and they started to do it more. And it was brilliant. I hate it because it was Chelsea, but it was brilliant. It's something I've been calling for years, for teams to be braver and leave more players upfield. And it meant that we had to leave a couple more back. And what this means in the future, if teams do this, is teams won't be able to pack the box as much. And so it should, in theory, be easier for the goalkeeper to come and claim corners, long throws. And if teams don't do that and they gamble, then they'll be massively exposed on the counter-attack. So keep an eye on that. I hope other teams follow suit because it could kill off this set piece and long throw meta, which I personally hate. I want to see flying football again. The sad thing about this match is, as the game wore on, Chelsea just got stronger and we got worse. We never looked like we were going to get back into the match. And that's really, really worrying, especially in a derby match against Chelsea. I mean, it just shouldn't be happening. There was no spark. There was no energy about us. No kind of will to really get back in the match, it felt like to me. How often did we give the ball away? It was crazy. Our pass accuracy in the second half actually dropped to 67%. You can see here how many times we gave the ball away. Crazy. We barely got certain players into the match. I mean, Moani's link players actually look pretty good when we've gotten the ball, but he's just seeing it so little that he can't get any rhythm and get into games. He's not the only one. Our attacking players just don't have enough volume of the ball. They don't see it enough, so they can't get themselves into the match enough to make an impact. And that's why I have some sympathy for all of our attacking players, even the ones that I don't rate quite as much, like Johnson or Richarlison, for example. The Spence and Van de Ven situation at the end of the match was a concern. Not good behaviour from the players. Don't like to see that at all. And worryingly, I think it shows a lack of authority on Frank's part, the way it played out as well. So hopefully that doesn't become a bigger thing and it's nipped in the bud quickly. Overall, the worst performance of the season. That's all there is to say, really. We generated the lowest XG for Spurs since records began collecting the data in 2012-2013 season. and that is not good enough. You know, this is not an incredible Chelsea side, and I don't care who we're playing against. We should be doing a lot better than this in terms of chance creation and threatening the goal. In possession, we look really poor, really, really poor. The lack of movement, and the players just don't know what to do on it. Like we look like individuals out there, and it's not any one player that's causing these problems. It's a collective thing. And to me, when so many players are underperforming collectively, that points to a coaching issue, a systemic issue, rather than just, you know, player A or player B not being good enough. So it's something we've got to sort really, really quickly, because when players like Van der Ven are underperforming, you know you've got problems. Defensively in this match, we weren't solid, and Chelsea could and should have scored more goals. Big thanks to Vicario, who continues his recent good form, because he saved us from a much bigger defeat in this game. Frank has to change things quickly before players lose confidence and belief in the system and the way we're playing. So he's got to do something quickly, and with the run of games we've got, it's going to be hard work, but it begins against Copenhagen. We've got to sort it out. Just one more very alarming stat before we wrap up. We have played the lowest amount of through balls of any team in the Premier League. 4 from 10 league matches. For context, the league average is 18.5. So we are not just miles behind Arsenal, Liverpool, City, Villa, Palace. We're miles behind the average, which is incredibly worrying. It's one of the worst stats I think I've seen in a long, long time. Copenhagen next. Really, really need a positive result and a positive performance, I think. So fingers crossed we can get a win and play well. Let me know what you thought about the Chelsea match. How do we improve for the games against United and Arsenal that are coming up? Big matches, and we've got to play better. Let me know in the comments below. Please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the bell to receive notifications. And as always, come on you Spurs!